Hello, welcome to AI in Action. My name is Maurie, and I'm here with my husband Jim. It is Sunday evening, and we are going to be talking about artificial intelligence. So, we're actually going to be talking about AI, and we're going to be talking about what's going on in AI education and human creativity. We're going to cover some things about creativity today. So, the
And we're going to
reason
talk about things that annoy me.
and things that annoy Jim. That's what we always talk about, things that annoy Jim on Sunday
No,
evenings.
because they don't always annoy me, but this particular one, I follow the news really closely with AI stuff because it's as much of a hobby,
Every
passion, whatever.
single day you follow it.
And I offer to stop talking about it so much, but you keep telling me you want to hear it, so it's self-inflicted. Anyway, um, I'm just there's a there's kind of a trend that I see that I just wanted to address it. That's all.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's
So,
talk about our recent trip.
yes, we went to California last week, or was it this week?
No, it was
It
early
was
this week. We flew out
early this
Saturday. We got back Tuesday. We went
It
down there
was,
early because we had a heat wave in Texas. It was 110 degrees while we were gone. And what was it there? 59 degrees when we woke up every morning.
yes, it was gorgeous. I
Oh, it
really,
was
really
nice.
enjoyed it. I don't
I
enjoy the flying down there. We have to basically tranquilize me to get me onto an airplane, but that's okay.
guess we're gonna
It was
start
worth
calling you
it.
BA.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Does anybody know what the A team is besides me?
Probably not. I think we really age ourselves when we start talking about, well, there was a movie not too long ago, the 18 movie. So
Was there?
maybe
Okay.
some people know
Maybe
what the
somebody
18
knows what I'm
is.
talking about. All right,
But yeah,
continue.
uh, so we flew and when we actually drove, we got to drive, through the winding hills again over to Northern California. We spent a whole day with a school system. We did kindergarten. Well, kindergarten wasn't able to be there. We spent fourth through eighth grade in the morning for about 3.5, 4 hours. And then we did ninth through 12th grade in the afternoon. And,
I gotta
every time,
say, just to interrupt you for a minute, I gotta say that I like when we do trainings for elementary. I'm not saying I don't like high school, but elementary teachers are just excited about life typically. I mean,
yeah,
they almost always are just so energetic about what they're doing, and they're just fun to train. They're fun to do professional development. I know I'm not supposed to do word training, but they're fun to have professional development with because they're so excited about being there.
well,
I think it's fun.
one of the things I thought was really funny is that when we do PD here in Texas and the surrounding states here, it's kind of like the stuff that we bring to the table is literally candy, like chocolate
Oh
and
yeah, that was
suckers
funny.
and candy. And we got all this candy and we put it on the tables and everything. And I'm like, why aren't they eating the candy? And Rachel was with us, and Rachel finally asked somebody. She was like, do you guys not want the candy? And the lady was like, oh, if it would have been like, I don't know, fruit or something, it'd probably be okay. But we just don't really do a lot of sweets and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot right there about the
Great
anyway,
school, great
great.
school.
Yes,
The
but
view was spectacular. The weather was good. The people were friendly. But as we always do, we have two types in every single. We have a lot of different types, but we have two specific ones we notice in every single professional development we do.
okay.
We
What are
have
those?
the eureka ones, the aha ones, I think you call them, that go, I got this is awesome. I got it. Eureka. This is going to save me so much time. We had them in this one. We've had them in every one we've ever done. And we always have one or two of the naysayers, the people who there have various and sundry reasons why um, they don't like AI. Yeah, it's not going to, it's going to ruin the world, whatever. The funny one was the one we were in where I did, because I tend not to notice them. I've tried to pay attention to them. I don't see their concerns as being negative. I mean, I know that they're feeling hostile or about the whole thing, but I see it as great questions. Why
Right.
shouldn't you question it? Because I'm used to training. I spent many years going all over the world training engineers, and they try their best to really
Prove you wrong.
get you on something and prove you wrong in
Mhm.
the training. So these people were mild, but even by our normal standards that we have for naysayers, Northern California, they were friendly.
Very friendly. Very
They were
friendly.
just they were just nice people. They're like, well, we think it's gonna ruin the entire world, but anyway, we'll talk more about that in a minute. I
I
just thought
think
it'd be funny.
whenever I asked her, it was a person, and I basically I was like, did you come up with your own personal AI? Because it's like a hands-on thing that we like to do, and they like name it and come up with all the things that their personal AI would do for them or whatever. And she basically didn't do the activity. And I was like, well, did you come up with something? She goes, no, I think that AI is going to absolutely it's going to end the world. And I was like, whoa, okay,
Well, the
but she was
funny
still
one,
very nice about it. And
she
then
was the artist.
after
The artist guy was funny. The artist guy was funny.
it was that afternoon, we were in another group and we were working with them, and he was doing stuff with it, but I could tell that he was just a little hesitant to do stuff with it. And then when it came time for all the hands-on stuff, and you walked up to him and was kind of like talking to him, and I mean, he kind of sarcastically said this in a way, but basically he just said that AI is going to like suck the soul out of everything that makes us human, and he was talking about creativity because he is an artist. And so that's where he sees creativity being, is through art. And that's one of the things that you and I were going to talk about, because I mean, we want to address the comments like this. We want to address the concerns, because we always hear these concerns. It's going to suck the creativity out of everybody. It's going to get rid of critical thinking. It's going to, humans aren't going to be as important, and, just all these little comments.
Well,
So let's address that.
The thing you and I have done many times, we did it, one of the first times we ever got in front of a group, which was out, I think, in San Angelo a couple of years ago. And we got into front of a group of people, and they start talking about things like that, things that are hard to define. What is creativity?
Mhm.
what is critical thinking?
Bias.
What is bias, which is the case we were talking about back then. And anyway, so we're going to address that, but I threw in some headlines. I didn't really throw them in because of the specifics of the headlines. I threw them in because, coincidentally enough, I had started putting together material right after, probably while we were in California, actually, for this podcast, because I like to put the material together in advance and kind of go over it with you. But it seems like this entire week, all the people that I follow that are on YouTube channels and stuff, they were very heavily focused this week on what they called creativity. And they tend to focus on 3 things. And that's the problem I have with it. They focus on 3. That's my complaint that I was talking about earlier. They define
what are the 3 things that they focus on?
They define it as generating images, generating video, generating music.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second, because, I taught kindergarten, and, kindergarten is when you start teaching a student. Hopefully, if they've been to like a pre-K or something like that, they already know, but a lot of times they don't. It's when you start teaching a student how to hold a crayon or how to use a paintbrush, or, and there's a lot of creativity when it comes to the arts that happens in kindergarten. But just because the student is like already coloring really well, or putting colors together that match, or, going in the lines or whatever, you have the student that's also, stacking the blocks a certain way, or is, making the plate over in the little play kitchen perfectly, proportioned on the plate when they're playing in the kitchen. So I think that we have pigeonholed what the definition of creativity is.
Well, and even artistic. I mean, if you look at, Rachel was in Europe around the Mediterranean recently, and a lot of some of those beautiful stuff around there is the Roman and the Greek and all the different, well, the archways specifically, as I understand it, I'm not a historian, this is just was my understanding of it, so if somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but literally the key to making an arch and all the archways they did was the keystone. That was the super secret. That was the secret. The keystone is what held the archway up. And without it, and that particular secret to building those archways, as I understand it, when the Roman Empire fell, that kind of went with it. And one of the things that it wasn't the It was the builder, not the Illuminati, but the builder. What were they? The
Masons.
Masons. That was one I heard. That was one of their super secrets. That they would almost the penalty of death kind of thing. You weren't allowed to give out the secret of building those archways, which was the keystone.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful and they're very artistic, but they're not on canvas. They're not images. They're not videos. They're not music. They're construction. So anyway, so let's talk about image generation for a second, because that was one of the headlines, and I know how much you like Midjourney. So let's talk about that.
Midjourney has opened up their web app to everyone, and they're actually offering free trials again. Now, I do talk about Midjourney when we go out and do professional development. The last time that I was trying to show somebody how to get onto Midjourney, it actually was not allowing them to have a free account. And I was like, what? And they actually had stopped giving the free trials.
If they wouldn't have given those free trials, you'd have never tried it, because that's how you started it. That's how you started it.
I mean, I think I paid $5 a month for Midjourney. I'm not 100% sure, but it was a free trial. And when I first got onto Midjourney, it was through Discord. And as soon as they started doing like the beta version of the web application, I immediately went over to the web app. I know you.
I didn't think you liked the web app. I thought you liked Discord because you like to see what everybody else is doing.
Well, I do like to see what everybody else is doing, but the channel got so busy and there were so many people on it at the same time that it was difficult to keep up with what you had just asked it to do or what you had just prompted it to do.
I never could.
Honestly, some of the art that the people were doing, and some of the image generation that people were doing, it was kind of like, that's kind of weird, and so there was like a lot of
it got a little too weird.
It got a little too
everybody
weird.
was trying to be edgy,
and so
in the process of doing so, go ahead.
Through the web app, I can go and just search for a specific type of art. I don't have to sit there and try to, and through the web app, if I search for a specific type of art, it shows me the prompt. Like if I find something I do like, it shows me the prompt that was used to create that image. And then I can take that prompt and copy it and adjust it and refeed it into it. Or I can just take the image that somebody else created. And whenever you're on Midjourney, you understand that what you create is not proprietary, so anything I create on Midjourney is free for anybody to go copy and use it themselves, use it somewhere else. So I'm excited. I am going to go, even though I already have the web app, I'm excited that I can start telling people about it again, that it is a free trial.
Hopefully they won't block it in Texas and in Illinois like they did the little
that's a little
sketch,
art that we tried
the little
too.
sketch thing. Yeah, the meta sketch, I think is what I was calling it. I think that's what it's called, meta sketch.
Yeah, it was a little meta sketch. We tried to show it to some people in Floresville, outside of San Antonio area, and I pulled it up. It's been in our presentation forever. I probably made that. It was a little, I took and I drew a little stick figure, almost like something a kindergartner would draw of their family. And then I animated the stick figure. It did a little dance. It was so cute. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, these little kindergarten first graders are going to love drawing their family and then using this little free tool and animating their family. And I went to show it in the PD and it said blocked. I was like, what? And so I thought, well, the school must have the site blocked. But no, we got home and it was blocked. And it's because
that's when I found out. Yeah, I found out Meta lost a lawsuit with Texas and Illinois, and apparently they're irritated about it because they've been blocking some stuff.
Yeah, and the lawsuit had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with that.
Of course not. Of course not. And by the way, you shouldn't say things about. I mean, you just did that whole thing about how those drawings look like something a first grader would do. That's how I draw. I can't draw much better than that. So let's not be judgy.
Okay, I'll try not. I'll allow your creativity is different than my creativity.
Okay, so naysayers. Let's go to naysayers. Procreate. Right. Yeah, I think I got that right. Procreate. I don't think it's Procreate, but maybe it is. It's an art program. I have no idea what it does.
You need to have a hyphen between the pro and the create. Maybe that was a problem.
I don't think there's a hyphen. Anyway, the CEO made a big deal on Twitter/X about how much he hates, effing AI and generative AI, and it's never going to be in their program. And and we made our program for humans to use, and yada yada yada. He made a big deal of it. The
So
question
basically,
is,
he's a Luddite.
well, he's just decided he's going to draw his line in the sand. But the fact is that he sells a program, and as much as he likes to draw a line in the sand, if the people who buy the program decide that they want it, it's sort of like that. To me, it reminds me of musicians that get hardcore, or entertainers that get hardcore into the political realm.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be surprised whenever these are your customers. Don't be surprised when they get irritated. Well, it's the same kind of thing. The people that buy your program are your customers. If they decide they want it in there and you don't put it in there, then you'll go under. So
Yeah,
maybe he never
I
will.
feel
And
good
I'm,
about
bullet, great for him for taking a stand. I just think the people that work for him may not be so bully for him for taking a stand if they don't get a paycheck anymore.
I
Um,
mean, okay, so I have to say this. It's kind of like the one person and it was like, AI, it'll never do anything for us, yada, yada, yada. And Rachel made the comment, oh, so you don't use a washing machine
or a calculator.
or a calculator or a cell phone or, and so it's one of those things that's like, it's going to get integrated.
Well,
And
you could wash your clothes by hand if you wanted, but you
sorry,
don't.
we would end up having dirty clothes all the time because I'm not going to go down to the Llano River with a washboard and a thing of lye soap. I mean,
Well,
come on.
and the thing about the example we use the most is calculators, because
Mhm.
they were going to end creative thinking and mathematical abilities, yet now they're required for you to take a test. And I still think there are people, including me, that have decent mathematical abilities. So I really don't think it killed mathematical ability just because we had them. Anyway, we're kind of beating this one to death. The main thing that I wanted to put with these few headlines I did, there's another one company called Ideogram. There's another one called Hotshot Video Generator. Every one of these were all about what they're defining creativity within those three modalities that I just mentioned: image
Right.
generation, video generation, and music generation.
And
So
music
anyway,
generation. So I just saw one, Suno. I'm actually going to really dig into this one. It was on LinkedIn the other day, and it was a great idea. This college professor, basically, the kids are writing like a paper, a research paper, um, something that they had to like all come up with. And they came up with border surveillance, and they had to write several paragraphs on border surveillance, not just in the United States, but anywhere that has a border. Um, like between Texas and Louisiana, right?
funny, yeah, funny. State
Anyway,
line, not border.
I know you always pick on me about that.
Mhm.
But he did a video. He took all of their paragraphs, he fed it into an AI, and then he used Suno to come up with the lyrics and a video.
And the music.
Well, I think it just came off the music, and he took the music from Suno and used a different program that did videos and did a video to go with the lyrics.
I think he did. I think he
The
overlaid the
lyrics,
music on
first
top
of
of
all,
it. It
it
was
was
cool.
about 5 minutes long.
Hmm.
The lyrics were really good, but they weren't great. And so the first thing I thought about was, wow, if you had a student who loved to write music and just never did quite have that, okay, I think I can do this, that could collaborate with the AI that's already got them that starting point. What
Hmm.
could that student now accomplish? I mean, we talk about it with coding, we talk about it with writing stories or books or
Hmm.
essays. Now you have something that can help you get started on the lyrics, and then it'll almost like help your creativity flow so that you can then write great music. So I
I
always say
think
that AI has given me the courage to do things I never thought I would do.
I think that is the part that gets left out the most. That to me, it's very profound, but I don't get the reaction I would expect in terms of how profound it is. I'm doing projects that I would not have had the courage to tackle, and I've written software for many years, and I like to some degree. I don't enjoy the coding part. I enjoy the architecture, which I consider to be a very creative thing. Trying to figure out what all the pieces are going to be and how they fit together, and what it's going to look like to the user. That's the parts I enjoy. And without an AI to write the code, I probably wouldn't have tackled. I've tackled some that I probably shouldn't have tackled, but I've definitely tackled some much harder things than I would have in the past. So I
Yeah.
I think any tool can be used incorrectly and it can become a crutch. But even a crutch is considered a tool when you've got a broken foot. So it depends on your definition of tool and creativity and stuff like that, which leads us to the next part of what we were talking about.
Okay,
Um,
so the next part we're talking about is it's actually a little thing called the human intelligence movement. I've been seeing it on LinkedIn a lot, and I had somebody comment to me that they wanted me to join. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll look into it. And I kind of thought it was going to be one of those, underground groups that were trying to save humanity after the AI take over.
the name sounds like it.
The
It
name
sounds
really does sound
very
weird.
the name sounds very almost dystopian, futuristic,
Yeah,
sci-fi kind of thing.
but when I dug
Because
into it, it actually wasn't. I mean, one of the things in their manifesto is like, we are at a critical juncture of our society. The rise of artificial intelligence is transforming our workplaces, and we must act now to ensure that our students are prepared for the future. I'm like, okay. But then they went on to say, we believe cultivating human intelligence is the key success in an AI world. And then when you really dig into it, they're talking about basically the coexistence of the human in the loop, keeping the human in the loop. So I filled out the paperwork, um, and we'll see. I've offered to join and just kind of give my 2 cents worth, because I love giving my 2 cents worth into everything.
well,
So
and I think what they're talking about and their manifesto and everything leads back to what we started talking about, which is define creativity. And as an engineering type who I cannot paint, I cannot sculpt, I'm a mediocre writer, though I have tried, but writing is a creative thing. And yes,
mhm.
AI can do it, but it can
It
also
doesn't
take,
sound right. It doesn't sound. I mean,
but most of what I see when it comes to creativity is the three modalities I mentioned earlier.
right,
That's what everybody talks about. And I don't agree with it. And I think that it narrows the scope so much I think it takes away from people who are very creative that just don't create in those three mediums.
right.
But it's kind of hopeful to me to see some of these schools kind of looking at it and going, okay, let's look at this. If you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing.
Right. You've got several colleges that are now starting to offer um, classes, like different art schools and stuff. They're adapting to the challenges and the opportunities that AI is going to bring to them.
Well,
So you actually
I
put one
like.
here. It's from news.artnet.com. It's about
Mhm.
how they say we cannot fight AI. I mean, trains already out, trains left the station.
Mhm.
It's not going to stop. How art schools are navigating the challenge of artificial intelligence. So what's really funny is when I look at that article, I immediately think, oh, an AI wrote that article, wrote that headline, because it looks like something an AI would write, but who knows? The article discussed how art schools are adapting, and they're trying to pull the AI into the creative process. So the key points that you were talking about was
I like the first point. The first point I like because I do agree with this. If you're going to, I think it's sort of like what you've been telling people all along, that if you're going to allow them to use AI, then they have to say where they used it.
yes,
And the portfolio, which is, I'm assuming, been sort of the keys to the kingdom. If you got a great portfolio, that decides whether or not you get into the art school. The problem is the portfolios are starting to be created by
AI generated.
AI.
Mm-hmm.
And these portfolios, I'm assuming, have a lot to do with those modalities we talked about earlier, probably mostly drawing things or maybe writing, but a lot of it's about drawing. And so these people are using these things to help them draw. So now they're trying to decide, how do you grade that? How do you decide if a person's portfolio is worthy of our school if you don't know? I think part of the answer is what you've been telling all the people we do the professional development with. They have to tell you what they used AI for.
Right. Grade the chat. So if we're so on, this is where I used it. I used it for my outline. Here's the outline, that
Or I
kind of thing.
used it for
It's,
my,
it's, it's all
here's
about
my prompt.
transparency. It's all
Yes.
about transparency.
Yes.
I mean, if you're transparent about it, then yeah, why not? One of the things I did like here is that one of the guys, Nate Harrison, he's from a university. He said that AI should not be viewed as a threat, but as a new medium. I mean, that's what we were talking about. I mean, building with bricks. Your brick is your medium. Using a paintbrush, your paintbrush and your art, your paint is your medium. Glass, wood, stone,
Yeah.
Python, coding. I mean, that's your medium.
Coding. Yeah, it depends on it. I've seen some people do stuff with coding that I considered it was beautiful.
Yeah.
What did Richard used to tell me? My code is a thing of beauty and a joy to behold, or something like that. I didn't necessarily agree with him on that, because he would at the same time tell me, and your code will make me go blind. But I still considered the way he architected code to be almost artistic. I mean, it was just cool. Anyway, I think I like these, but before we run out of time, I kind of wanted to get to the last ones that we're going to talk about, because I like their approach even more.
All right, go for it.
So the headline is, which I actually pulled this from Perplexity, universities offering art courses, and the basic is it's these art schools and universities, and they're integrating AI tools and concepts into art courses. That sounds good, but again, I like the fact that they're not focused just on those same three modalities, because they're talking about, yes, they're talking about what do you do for incorporating it into the traditional modalities. Because, for example, whenever I first took a machine learning class, it was actually created for artists. It was a university, an online university out of London. And I took a class from a lady that she taught you how to use machine learning to enhance your artistic ability, because her medium was digital, meaning she was creating art, but on the screen. It was still kind of a drawing thing, but it was also human interaction, that the visual art, the stuff you did in your class, remember?
Yes.
They had to create an interactive project that interacted with people, and it had components in it that they weren't all electronic. I mean, there was a physical component to what they did. Well, that's what they're doing. And I like the fact that they're also combining it with computer science and other fields, they say. So I think this is Florida Atlantic University offers minors in applications of artificial intelligence, and they include arts and letters, exploring impacts on AI society. So anyway, I think the true way to make it work, I think that artists and people that are considered traditional artists and computer scientists and all these different people need to be in the same room. I've always said that's why Apple used to, I don't know if they still do, but Apple used to make some of the more beautiful pieces of technology. I mean, everybody else's was square and black.
Yeah, they always pay attention to the details.
They did well, and they hired artists, as I understand it. I mean, they designed their screens and they designed the boxes to be attractive. Remember the trash can Mac?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that there are some art schools that are starting to do this. That they're combining it with all the other, like with computer science and things like that. They're giving some certifications and some actual degrees.
And they're talking about ethics.
And ethics about, how it has to be central to AI art education, about copyright, data usage, societal implications, stuff like that.
And that transparency thing you talked about earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a nice conversation with a lady out of, she's in Virginia. She worked for the government for a long time, but we were talking about policies and stuff like that. And we were talking about policies and stuff like that. And one of the things that she said was, putting all this stuff into the forefront to make sure it's written down so that you actually know all the rules and regulations and all the stuff that you're supposed to be doing, and then being very transparent about what you expect from your students is, a big way to make this not happen. So anyway, we only have a couple of minutes left. I would like to go ahead and say that I am looking forward to Wednesday evening. I'm headed back to Austin for my monthly AI Alliance meeting, the Austin AI Alliance that AI Education Professionals is a part of. Looking forward to that. I'm going to be bringing a guest from Intel, and we'll see, maybe we can get Intel on board with this movement in the Austin area. And then I get to wear a red dress on Thursday. I'm going to the Big Red Gala, very formal event for the Austin businesswomen. So Rachel and I are going. We're going to go meet a bunch of people that are women in business. So
And hopefully talk about AI.
And hopefully talk about artificial intelligence. So anyway, my name is Maurie, and I'm here with my husband, Jim, and we always come on Sunday evenings, drop on Monday mornings, and talk about artificial intelligence. So we hope that you guys have a marvelous rest of the week.